I love seeing strong females in lead roles, whether it is a game or a TV show or a movie, but what I don't like is when females are pushed into roles just to make a statement. So I have been live streaming Ghost of Tsushima here on the channel, and I have been playing it quite a lot off stream, and it is fantastic. It is just such a good game. But what makes it so good are the characters, and usually when a character story is really good, people don't demand that it be changed. But of course, because Jin is a male, this game just isn't good enough, because now people, including journalists, may I add, are asking Sucker Punch to make Ghost of Tsushima's sequel female focused. So we are going to start with a Forbes article. Ghost of Tsushima 2 has a clear hero in the waiting, a legendary woman samurai. It seems like a done deal that Sucker Punch will make a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, a hit by every metric, a fast-selling new IP beloved by fans who are comfortable proclaiming it, one of PlayStation 4's best games of the generation, which, considering its competition, is a significant statement. The author of this article is Paul Tassi, so we know that he is comparing it to Last of Us Part 2. He did an article recently talking about why did Ghost of Tsushima received such amazing ratings when The Last of Us Part 2 is an amazing game as well, and it received pretty poor ratings by users. So we know that's the game that he is comparing Ghost of Tsushima 2. But continuing on, that raises the question, what would Ghost of Tsushima 2 look like? Well, first of all, it probably wouldn't be called that. Tsushima's story is over, it seems, so we should probably move on to a new island, and the title would change as a result. I do think that they are going to go in more of an Assassin's Creed direction, where you have a couple of games with the first lead character, and then it passes the game off in different time periods. I think we are going to get multiple Ghosts games, and I think that they are going to all revolve around different characters. He says, though, I am, however, more focused on who would be leading the game, and I think by the time we reach the end of Ghost of Tsushima, we already have a prime candidate. And of course, he goes on to say, I am talking about Tomoe, one of the most disliked female characters in this game, in my opinion. I really like Yuna. I think that she's a really good character. I think that Lady Masako is a really good character. But Tomoe, she's so unlikable. She definitely is not beloved by the end of the game. In Ghost of Tsushima, one of the longest quests in the game is one where you run at the side of Sensei Ishikawa. It takes many, many twists and turns. First, you think that Tomoe, his young archery prodigy, was kidnapped by the Mongols, and then you learn that she has actually joined the Mongols and is now commanding groups of them, and teaching them how to be better archers. But even though she ends up seeming like a big bad only secondary to the Khan, when you reach the end of her journey, things change. Tomoe claims that she regrets her decisions to join the Mongols, and any Japanese she killed, she was only doing so as a mercy, and that she often tried to prevent the Mongols from murdering people. So he does talk more about her background, because Tomoe is actually based off of a real archer, but he ends the article with, I was already sold on Tomoe leading a sequel just from what I saw of her in the game itself. I had no idea about the real-life history of Tomoe, the famous samurai warrior. So now I am 300% convinced that this would be the right call. A Ghost sequel is no doubt many years away, but when it does arrive, I would not be surprised to see Tomoe leading it, and it would be well-deserved. I don't really think that Tomoe is lead character worthy, but I also wanted to bring up this article by US Gamer. Now, the whole US Gamer team came together to really talk about their thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima and what they would want from a sequel. And they were asked by the interviewer, would you like to see that sequel focus on Jin, one of his supporting cast members, or a new character? And of course, they all gave the answer of female characters. Mike says, I've been pretty open that Jin's story was probably the least compelling in Ghost of Tsushima. Lady Masako is a bit older, but she still seems to be able to do the murder What kind of wording is that? Do the murder, guys. And Yuna was one of the more compelling cast members over the course of the story campaign. She stays on Tsushima to help Jin take down the Khan, but she ultimately wanted to go to mainland Japan, and I say let's follow her journey. Yuna is a really good character. I really do like Yuna. But why throw away Jin's story? I mean, come on, he says that he doesn't like it. I think that that's bullshit. Jin's story is extremely compelling. To get the flashbacks of when he was learning how to become a samurai, all of his memories with his family, like his uncle, and we also see him form these new relationships. I just think that his story is extremely, extremely good. Joel says, Joel in 1, my first impulse is to say Yuna should have the top billing, as she was the most interesting and likable character overall. I think she was good, but she was a side character, let's keep that in mind. I suspect in reality we'd get Jin during the second invasion in 1281, but that's not what I want. What I want is Yuna taking up the mantle of Ghost after Jin dies. The story of a thief turned legend who has far more reason to keep the samurai and upper echelons of Japanese society at arm's length. Within the first game, Yuna was nearly framed for the Ghost's actions in order to protect Jin's reputation. I don't think that this would be a terrible idea, but I just don't see why we should throw away Jin's story. To overthrow a story because it has a male as the lead for the sake of diversity is just really bad, because as the next person says, a potential sequel should either create someone entirely new or hand over the reins of the story to Yuna. The story should always come first and everything else should come second. They already have an amazing story here. If you already have an amazing story, you just don't dismantle it to push a narrative into it. In the end, a lot of journalists are saying that they think Ghost of Tsushima 2 should hand the reins over to a female, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that they have an amazing story going for them, and they should continue Jin's journey. I don't think that it's bad that people are asking, will you consider adding a female into the lead, especially if they do not continue Jin's journey. But what makes me angry is that people like these journalists are completely overlooking Jin and his existing story because he's a male. They're literally saying, well, this story was good, but imagine if it had a female, and I just don't think that adding a female lead would blow my mind. The story shouldn't be changed just so you can add diversity. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Ghost of Tsushima 2, or do you think that they will end the franchise here? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and share it, and of course if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.